price, as you know, is a function of supply and demand. What we have noticed from the Q4 of 2018, that there have been certain geopolitical developments in the world. We had the US-China trade war impact. Then we also had a restrictive import policy on coal in China, which led to a certain surplus of low-ranked coal, which dropped price. In the early part of 2009, as a result of that trade war, there was also an impact on import of Australian coal into China. Clearances were delayed, and as a result, there was stock buildup. And as Australia had to find alternate markets for its quality of coal, that also dampened the benchmark quality coal price. The third factor has been the issue of global growth. And there is also an element of, you can say, recession, sparked off by the US-China trade war, and which has traveled really across Europe, across Asia, and is impacting almost everybody else. So global growth from a healthy level has now come down to a sustenance level or a survival level. So we believe that the bottom may have been hit. We think that when we look forward, we should look forward with optimism. What are we actually seeing today? We are seeing more positive developments in the US-China trade development.
They are now meeting in Washington to talk about the phase 1 deal. So how it will help the market to recover, coal market?
Well, it's largely sentiment. And if Australia-China imports normalize, it should further go a long way in normalizing what is called the supply-demand current imbalance of coal. Now, if we look further back in 2019, India had floods. They had one of the worst floods in September, October last year. As a result, their demand has gone up. Very recently, we've had issues in Australia on the bushfire. Now, how that would affect coal supply is something that we really need to assess. But when we are looking at global demand in 2020, we see a pickup of around 1% to 2% over last year. And when we are looking at 2022, which is 2 years down the road, we see an increase of around 10 to 12% over 2019 levels. Now, the point to note is that supply is not increasing of coal.
What a condition right now on the supply?
As far as supply is concerned, most global investment funds and banks are not investing in new capacity for coal plants.
Okay.
As a result, coal is relatively limited in terms of future supply growth in the medium term. But what we see is growth in countries like India, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Pakistan, and there are 2 or 3 other places in Asia where growth is growing. And more importantly, there's a huge growth potential in Indonesia. So when we are looking forward over the next 5 years, we are actually seeing a major growth in demand for coal, not just from power, but also for fossil fuel replacement purposes